So Raw was yesterday, and I liked some of the progression and storylines that we got for certain characters. Gunther and Drew McIntyre have entered themselves into the King of the Ring tournament. That was nice to see. Gunther, it's time for him to move on to bigger and better things. In the case of Drew McIntyre, he's got to progress his story to get back that World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm glad that they're bringing back the roots of the King of the Ring getting a championship opportunity because, man, I hated, and I absolutely hated that old King of the Ring shit where they would just come out with the crown and all that shit. They wouldn't even get a championship match. Like, remember King Corbin, King Woods, the worst of all. Remember King Sheamus? Oh, God, gag me, please. Horrible times. But I'm glad they're finally making that tournament mean something, for real. We also got some progression with Chad Gable's heel turn. That was nice to see him berating the Alpha Academy. I wonder how that story is going to turn out and if the reports about him and the Creed brothers are going to unite and create a faction similar to like that Team Angle vibe. I'm definitely interested to see how that story goes and unfolds. But the biggest story and news to come out of Monday Night Raw was the ending with the Battle Royal for the Raw Women's World Championship. So basically, I'm just going to go to the end. Nia Jax eliminated by Becky and Liv. And then Liv gets eliminated by Becky with the manhandle slam. Before I get to my thoughts on the ending with Becky winning, let me say this also. The ending of that match was kind of ridiculous. I'm just going to be honest, because you had Becky and Liv on the apron. By the way, Liv, you got to learn from the past. If you look at the last two Royal Rumbles, Liv Morgan has been among the last two people in the match and has been eliminated on the apron. Those who don't learn from the past are destined to repeat it, and Liv has obviously not learned. But the point is, Liv and Becky, they were battling it out on the apron, and I swear the referee was trying to tell them, go back in the ring and redo the spot. Because if you look at it, Liv goes over the top rope. I think Becky threw her over the top rope. But then Liv pulls Becky through the ropes. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I hope Becky's not going to lose this match because there's no way you can do that spot. And Becky doesn't look like she's obviously still in the match because she went through the ropes, you know? So I was a little confused as to what they were doing there. Now, gratefully, Becky won, so it didn't ruin the ending of the match. It just made that a little anticlimactic for me. It made me think Becky was going to win because why would they not go back in the ring? It seems like either they ignored the referee and said, hey, who cares? Becky's winning, so we can do what we want to do anyway. Or maybe they genuinely did not know, and that's a little scarier if they did not know. But regardless, it all worked out, and Becky eliminated Liv with a horrible-looking manhandle slam. Honestly, bro, that manhandle slam, it sucks. And it's not necessarily Becky's fault. I just don't think she can get them up very high on the move. Some people sell it well, some people don't. It just depends on who that person is. Liv didn't really take the move that well. But regardless, Becky wins, and she is now the Women's World Champion. Now, it caused a bit of an uproar, not even a bit, a lot of uproar on social media. If you go on YouTube and look at the like and dislike ratio, it's insanely in favor of the dislike button. It's more dislikes than likes. It's not as much as like the Cody and Rock segment, but it's clear on social media, they are not happy with Becky Lynch winning the Women's World Championship. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think she was the right choice. Because let's start off with this. The women's Raw division is not good. If you look at that battle royal, there were only 3 women, only 3 legitimate women that had real claims to that world championship. There were only 3 that you could actually see winning that championship. Nobody thought Zoe Stark. Nobody thought Shayna Baszler. Nobody thought Kaden Carter and Katana Chance or Maxine Dupree or Ivy Nile or Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell. Like, let's be serious. Nobody thought they were going to win that championship. And it's so wild because when that ring was full with all the Raw women in the match, I looked throughout that whole ring. I was like, damn, there's only about 3 women in here that are actually over. And that's Becky, Liv, and Nia. Whether you hate Nia, you love her, whatever, Nia's over as a heel. She gets heat. She gets a reaction from the fans. She's a heat magnet. That's why they had her do all her spots. And there was a big pop for when she was eliminated because she's an actual legitimate heel. She may not be the best in ring, but she's improved. She gets heat. She gets a reaction. And that's way more than I can say for people like Indy Hartwell. Okay? And that leads into my second reason being that without Rhea Ripley on that roster, you need somebody that can fulfill that spot in every way imaginable. Not just with a story, but also with star power. And who has the most star power on that roster? Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, you could argue she's the biggest star among the entire women's division on both shows. Look, Jade Cargill, I think she has potential to be the biggest star in WWE, and I stand on that. I don't care what anyone says. Bianca Belair, you could argue she's bigger than Becky to a degree, but Becky, she got the motion. When she went to NXT, she was doing better numbers on NXT with her appearances than Seth Rollins did. Think about that. So Becky's a star. Okay, she's solidified on that division. And that makes sense for them to say, hey, we lost one star. Let's just put another one in that spot. One that we know can work with anybody, have good matches, can cut promos, and fans are interested in her. That social media reaction, I'll get to that in a second. But when she won that match, nobody booed. They cheered. And I don't expect that to change going forward. This isn't a situation like The Rock and Cody Rhodes, okay? That was a situation where, yes, The Rock got turned on by the fans, but that was also because Cody Rhodes had a real story going in place. And that leads into the other point I want to get into. This whole thing with Liv Morgans Story. Look, she ain't Cody Rhodes, okay? She was going to lose to Rhea anyway. She was never in the cards to win the world title. Just because Rhea gets injured doesn't mean now Liv needs to win the title because she wasn't pegged to win the title in the first place. And that gets into another thing I want to say about this whole Liv Morgan story. What makes you guys think that she has to win the title right now? I don't understand that. Liv Morgan may never win that world title. And that's okay. Because there's two titles. She can win the other one. But the fact of the matter is, we don't know how long Rhea Ripley also is going to be out. Rhea could be out for 9 months. She could be out till next year and have to make a Royal Rumble appearance. Are you telling me Liv has to hold the title now until the Royal Rumble, if that's the case? So Rhea can come back and they can have a match? No, that's not how it has to work. Hell, Rhea could come back, face Liv, and it could be a non-title feud. And then Rhea could go after the world title. I don't know why people think now Liv has to win the title and she has to hold it till Rhea gets back. What if there's a delay in Rhea's rehab? It's an AC joint injury. We don't know if it's even surgery required. We don't know if it's a sprain, a tear. We don't know any of the real details. They've been very quiet about that injury. So it's very shocking to me how these Liv Morgan fans can just sit there and act like she needed to win that title. She didn't need to win anything. Please, let's be serious. And then let's address this whole Becky Lynch controversy, because I don't even think it's just about the fact that Liv didn't win. I think it's about the fact of who did win, and that was Becky Lynch. And it started the convo again about, oh, Becky Lynch is overpushed. Oh, all she does is bury everybody. Oh, what's this about Becky putting over talent? Who is she really put over? Bianca was already that girl. You know, Lyra, cool, but Becky didn't have to go to the NXT division and bury everybody, you know, and now she's winning the women's world title. Why? I even saw someone post Becky and Bayley holding the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship years ago, and now here we are years later in this quote-unquote new era, and they both are champions again. And let me just say this, what a stupid ass take, okay? What a stupid take. If you go back years ago, I think Sami Zayn was the Intercontinental Champion, okay? What's wrong with him now being the Intercontinental Champion? I don't see anybody saying, oh, it's a new era and Sami Zayn is still the Intercontinental Champion. R-Truth and The Miz, Awesome Truth, are the Raw Tag Team Champions. I don't hear anybody saying, why are they the champions if it's a new era? God, people pick and choose what to be angry about. Even Cody Rhodes is not a new guy, okay? If the story calls for it, it can work. So that is just crazy to me. Bayley has been putting people over for years. For years. She hasn't been a champion since like what? The Thunderdome era when she lost to Sasha? So please, shut the fuck up about that. And when it comes to Becky and how she's put over people, Lyra. She put over Lyra for that NXT championship. Tiffany Stratton, a lot of her improvement came during the Becky Lynch feud. Sure, she lost. I get it. But she looked better losing than she did at any point in NXT. Her match with Becky, I believe that Extreme Rules match, that was a great match. That was a great match. That was big for her development. It gave her exposure also. Becky brought exposure to that whole division in NXT, whether people want to admit it or not. And then you get into the whole thing with, she wins too much. All she does is beat people. Did she not put over Rhea Ripley? Did she not put over Bianca Belair? Like I said, did she not put over Lyra? Where's this thing coming from? Hell, she lost to Nia Jax, so Nia Jax could be seen as more credible before her match with Rhea Ripley at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So where's this thing coming from that Becky always beats people? That's just not true. Does she need to win enough so she can seem more credible because she's one of their top stars? Yes, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't do jobs. I don't know where this mentality, where this narrative came from, that Becky is like Triple H and she's just burying everybody. Was she the safe choice? Yes. Is it a little annoying that they fell back on her? Maybe. But who else is believable in that spot for the near future going forward? She's the only one. She's the only one. We've seen Liv Morgan hold the world title. Back in the day, I think it was the SmackDown Championship. She didn't do good with that title. That was a bad run. And maybe you could say that was about the booking, but I trust a Becky Lynch World Championship reign right now than a Liv Morgan one. And she can prove us wrong. Liv, it's clear, in my opinion, they're probably going to transition her to being a heel. And I think a feud with Becky Lynch, where maybe they trade the title back and forth a couple times, or Liv has to try and try again until she can get that title, and then she just snaps in the process of doing so, becomes a real aggressive, ruthless heel. Maybe that's how it works. Or maybe Liv's going to get traded to SmackDown in the draft. There are so many things they could do with Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch right now that I'm so confused why so many people are angry about this. I'm so confused. People are calling her Hulk Hogan. And the memes are funny, don't get me wrong. But Liv Morgan fans gotta grow up. Seriously, she is not Rhea Ripley. She is not Becky. She's not Bianca. Stop putting her in that tier 1. She's not. And soon she won't even be on Jade Cargill level, if she even is right now. Right? She's in that tier 2. She's the really good ones. She's with the Naomis, the Dakota Kais. And Dakota Kai could elevate to tier 1 soon if they really push her in that direction. But she's in that tier 2. She's good, but she's not elite. She's not great. And maybe one day she can change my mind and change the company's mind. I do believe one day she will break through. But until then, nah, not right now.